Okay folks, I'm about to start the passenger side of the Baja bar installation. I've got my holes marked from the inside out, getting ready to pull the passenger side seat out, see if the fuel tank is in my way or not. Hopefully it's not, but I'll get the seat out and I'll take a look and I'll let you know. Okay, I have the seat out. You can see the filler neck there for the fuel tank. I'll come inside. You can see the seat belt bolt down here in the corner, sort of underneath the filler neck, but I just stuck my hand down in there. I think I can get a wrench on the back side and a wrench on the front side and pull the bolt out okay. Now, if you remember yesterday, I said one of the problems I had was with the support, the upper rear support on the other side was a little off square. So I'm going to show you how I checked it on this side. I decided to go ahead and check this one on this side before I started mounting it. And hopefully you can look down through between the mount and the square and see that this one is actually pretty straight. The other one yesterday on the other side, the top was touching the square at the top, and I can't get the square all the way up against it because of the weld, but you can see the space is pretty evenly distributed. So I'll go ahead and check the other two mounts just to make sure they're okay before I ever try to put it on. Okay, this is the second mount, and I'm going to put the square on the tubing here. I'll slide it up as to where it hits the weld and stop. Now you can see that this one is actually touching the square at the top, and it's got a little bit of an opening at the bottom. So before I try to install this, I'm going to set this on my bench and give it a couple wraps with a sledgehammer, being careful not to hit where the weld end nut is at the top, hit somewhere in the center. See if I can square this up a little bit before I try to put it on. I think it'll make things a little easier. Okay, I've attempted to square this standoff frame mount with a sledgehammer. It'd probably be easier if you took a torch and heated it up, but I didn't want to burn the paint off. I figure a little blemish on the paint from the hammer won't be seen anyway. But now you can see that I pretty much have the same gap from the standoff all the way up the square. Now I can't get the square flush with it because of the weld at the bottom, but you can pretty much see that it's a lot squarer than it was when I started. So now we'll go try to drill the rest of the holes and put it on and see how it goes. Okay, using the template, I went ahead and marked and drilled the hole, the top upper mount in the back. Now what I've done on this side that's different than the other side is I went ahead and attached one of the screws in the fender weld that holds the front of the rail up, and then I've come back and checked my marks to see if they are indeed in the center of my other post before I drill the hole. This one here looks almost perfect, but this one up here I could have had my punch not centered or what. So what I've done is I've took a Sharpie and marked on either side of the post, and now I'll drill in the center of those two marks to make sure that I've got one hole and I don't have to open it up too big. Okay, the best laid plans. As I told you earlier, I drilled the back hole, marked the two lower mounts. Everything is shifted forward, which I didn't expect, because this front mounting plate is as far back towards the rear as it's going to go. It's right up against the plastic. But everything needs to shift back about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch to get the holes to line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this flat plate in a vise and bend it around so that the whole bar can shift backwards. I'm going to take a rotary file and open these holes up for the mounts backwards towards the rear. They're perfect as they set, but the bars don't line up with the holes. So I'm going to shift everything back some, and if there's a gap and it's ugly, I'll fill it in with some black RTV, and nobody will be the wiser except those watching this video. So I'll let you know how that goes. So here you can see how the holes are offset. I think you can see it. The plastic is drilled forward and the frame mount holes are backward. So I'm going to elongate the holes in the plastic to let everything shift backwards a little. Okay folks, after several hours of work and many hours of thinking on how to do this, I finally have all or both sides of the bars on. I left the jack here to show you, to get the upper back frame connection in place. It was, even with all the work of moving it back, the front bracket up here keeps the whole thing from moving backwards, because it gets up against the inside of the fender and it just won't go backwards anymore. So what I did was I put a jack under it, put some weight on the jack, and used the jack as a leverage point. And you can see my pry bar here. I use that to pry back on this lower mount to get the upper mount in place. And you kind of need two people. Have one person inside the cart trying to get the bolt threaded. But we got it done. So can't blame it all on the manufacturer of the pipes, the Nerf bars. Can't blame it all on the factory. I think just the inconsistency between the two kind of makes it a tougher job to install. I recommend two people. I'm not sure how the factory tolerances are or how the manufacturer of the Nerf bars TurnKey is, but I mean, they were real close, but when you're trying to connect three physical points that are fixed, it makes it a little tough. So be aware that it's going to be a job, but I think it's well worth it. The bars are nice and solid, bolted to the frame. They look good on the cart. So I hope this helped, and good luck with your installation.